Hello. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Unearth the True You Significance program. Tonight, we will be starting week one. This is the week that we talk about eternal perspective. We talk about eternal perspective as well as um, understanding what it means to collaborate as well as um, contend and to really unearth the true you. So, we have some treats for you guys tonight. We're going to have some great content, and we want to have you to, chime in and answer questions and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So, we're in week one, module one of Unearth the True You. And we were going to go ahead and just jump right in. Okay. All right. So we are, of course, you all know that this is a faith-based program, and what we do is we help to develop the personality as well as increase self-awareness. So to first begin to increase self-awareness, we have to understand something about ourselves. Well, we have to understand first where we came from. All right. This week is called Eternal Perspective of Identity and Personality. Okay. And so let's kind of jump in right there. So, as humans, our significance originated, and actually, we had our significance from before the foundations of the worlds. We were created and we lived in the heart and the mind of our Creator. Okay. So through our Creator, we were given significance when we were but a concept in His mind. We were like a thought. But even there, we were important. Okay. He created us and fathered us in an eternal place without space or time. Let's just take a moment and think about that for a second. We were in a place without space or time. And there we were with Him. Okay. So now, if we refer to sacred text tells us in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, the fourth and the fifth verse, this is God talking to Jeremiah. And He says to him, "Before I formed you in the womb of your mother, I knew you." And He said, "I sanctified you," which means I set you apart for a special purpose, "and I ordained you." That means I gave you the authority and the means to exert that authority. All right. Now let's think about that for a moment. Jeremiah couldn't have been the only one that the Creator knew, that God knew before He even formed him. So we can assume that we were all in that place with Him. All right, let's think about it. That's Old Testament. Let's come to the New Testament. If you go to the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 29, God is speaking through the writer, and He's saying that whom God foreknew, He also did predestinate to be conformed into the image of His Son. So in that verse, it's presupposed that, God has foreknown more than one person, and that who He foreknew, He basically, this person that He foreknew has been, it's been orchestrated for them to be conformed into the image of His Son. So we are, even in the likeness, conformed into the likeness of His Son. All right. So if you listen to that, and we take note of that, and I'll say those verses again so that you can look them up online. So you'll want to go to Jeremiah chapter 1 and then verses 4 and 5. Those are important in determining and revealing our significance. Okay. And then go to the book of Romans, and that's chapter number 8. You can also look this up online. Chapter number 8, the verses are verses 29 and 30. And those, you can see that God is speaking to us about our pre-coordinate state. All right. Okay. Many a times you can hear of the reference of Jesus in his precarnate state. But I love these particular scriptures because they point to us in our precarnate state. That's awesome. Okay, so let's continue on in our reading of the eternal perspective and our discussion about, our message of significance and identity. All right, so he created us and he fathered us in a place without space or time. Then he actually goes a little further, and then he creates places for us to exist outside of himself. So we understand that we were in him, he knew us, we were in relationship with him. Well, then he goes and creates a couple of places that we can begin an existence outside of him. So he created a natural place for us to exist, which is earth, and a he also created a spiritual place for us to exist, and that's heaven. Okay. um, so then he created other places for us to live, expand, and grow and become. And then he spoke into those places. Let's talk about earth because that's where he places us. Excuse me. He spoke and gave things order when as well as identity and proper placement. All right. Then this is what he did. Then he actually formed human beings, okay, appointed them with rank and authority. So this is where he creates this place, okay, and then he forms us and then gives us rank and gives us authority, right? And he blesses us. It says he blessed humans whom he formed in his likeness and in his image in the earth, okay? And then he set a garden there. Now, in that garden, there is a reenactment of what occurred in the eternal place. So we were with him and then we were just communing with him. We were talking with him. We had relationship with him. He knew us, right? Well, if we look at the garden, okay? So let's set the stage. We have Adam in the garden. And it says that the reenactment of that relationship that we had with him. Okay, so Adam, the first human that walked, he walked and talked with their creator. It says in the cool of the day. Yeah. So part of that conversation, think about what that conversation could have been like or had to have been like, right? So to carry on a conversation with someone, you have to have some type of a mental capacity that's even close to theirs to be able to carry on a conversation, in words, and you have to be close to that intellectual place. Well, this human was talking with God. He was walking and talking with him. And so think about that conversation that they had was it had to be about the gardening. It had to be about, who he was as a person, right? And if we keep reading, it says that God, our creator, gave Adam two specific assignments. His assignments were to dress and to keep the garden. All right. Eden was Adam's to cultivate and to protect. Those were two intentional assignments. Okay. All right. And so, he told him, he said that, he was given only one rule. Everything else was up for grabs. He says, of all the trees that are planted in the garden, you can freely eat of them. But of the tree of the garden in the middle, that tree that's in the middle, which was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he said, don't eat of it. And so let's just think about, we were intricately formed and given significance before anything was created and before time itself began. And so, again, you want to refer to those special texts that I gave you. You can also look into Ephesians chapter 1 and verse number 5. So here we have written account of the fact that we were made with significance. And so you can see the example of how the creator and Adam related to one another, talked to one another. They had the same mind, that same kind of mind and same kind of intellect, and they pretty much have the same thought process. We can assume that because they had a conversation that they carried on day by day. All right. And so of course we know that another thought came in there, and this new thought that was introduced, it basically, when Adam accepted that new thought, it basically removed our significance. And not only that, it removed from Adam even his knowledge that he was significant, right? It also ruined our connection with our creator, and basically disappointed us from the purpose that we were set in the earth. All right. um, yeah. All right. So now what I want to do is kind of fast forward some thousands of years to the advent of Christ Jesus. Christ's purpose was to restore the significance of all mankind and to reconcile us back to the Father, back to the Creator. All right. And so we all know the story, but sadly, we don't understand what the story has to do with us specifically. All right. Why would his resurrection mean anything to me? We know that Jesus Christ came to the earth, he died, and then he was, buried, and then he rose again. But many people don't understand what it means and what his death and burial and resurrection had to do with them personally. Okay. And so, we want to make sure that, that you understand that what his main objective was to do was to come back to reconcile us to the Father. And he did that. Yeah. Right. All right. Now now that we have spent so long as human beings in this place of significance in our mind and in our inner place, the moment that we disconnect from insignificance to reconnect to significance, it becomes almost like an inner fight where the old us, if you will, is, he wants his place back. Well, I'm awake now and I've come to the realization that I'm not insignificant. I am significant. I'm not powerless, but I'm filled with power, power to create, power to subdue, power to move and advance and do great things with my life. Okay. Now let's think about it. So we understand how valuable we are in the grand scheme of things now because of what Jesus did. We have an idea. We have an idea of what was stolen from us when, you know, Adam decided to go with that other thought. Okay. So now we've lived so long in this place subjected to subpar living, and subpar thinking, that like literally insignificant thought processes had taken over our mind. It literally had taken over how we thought, and it kept us under like a canopy of lies. And so, but once we come to the knowledge of the truth, and once we come to, an awakening, like a state of awakening, we can actually, you know, take a moment to think about it and say, hey, I want to cleanse my thought processes. Hey, it's time to keep the focus that we have and keep relationship with the truth and partner with it, live it. I don't want to think the way that I used to think anymore about myself. I don't want to look at myself and think, whatever I used to think, And so now, comes the moment where we can go and, we can change, but we really want to understand that place of insignificance so that we don't go back there again. So let's talk for a moment about what kept us in that place of insignificance, and we didn't even know that it was doing it, right? So there's like a parasite. There's like an entity that ciphers our strength and drains our relationships, takes our consistency, and it has also sops mental clarity so that we're not able to make the decisions, that we should make. It's like a parasite, and it's called sabotage. Now let's think about the definition of this. So by definition, sabotage means to deliberately destroy, damage, or obstruct something. Okay, that's the verb. As the noun, it says it means to vandalize or impair on purpose. So in this case, it would be personal growth and progress that was deliberately destroyed, damaged, or obstructed. So when sabotage is working, it can be negatively impacting, emotions, thoughts. It could be negatively impacting every situation that we encounter. Um, And so what I want to do is kind of reveal what are some things that keep sabotage in place. What are some things that protects and insulates this type of thinking that we've had, for so long? What keeps it in place? Okay. So, an indicator of sabotage, the fact that sabotage is in operation, we have to look for cycles that occur in emotions or feelings that keep a person from. They keep a person just basically doing the same thing and fighting over the same battles, but never coming, to a place of victory. All right. It makes the person basically look unstable. If we read in James, okay, James, I want to say chapter 1, verse 8, something around there, it says that a double minded man is unstable in all of his ways. Okay. So two ways that sabotage operates to get a person to forfeit their next level or growth is number one, the influence of inebriation. Okay. Inebriation is drunkenness or intoxication. Many times individuals are in such an overly unstable place in their emotions that they need something, or they feel that they need something to help them tone it down. Okay. So inebriation is one uh, thing that sabotage uses to basically take us down, take us out. So whether it's smoking or drinking or sexing, these are all addictive behaviors, right? So yeah, and remember this, while we're talking about it, a drug is a drug, wet or dry. Understand that. All right. Now, the second thing that sabotage uses to take us down with, okay, is escapism. Think about that. Escapism. Escapism is to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in a fantasy, gambling, strip clubs, something like that, are some examples of escapism. And so basically, escapism, is giving yourself permission to check out on life. It's isolating a person. A person is isolating themselves from real issues that need, you know, real attention. All right. So yeah, it's basically allowing yourself to rebel against your own personal significance. And when individuals have, this operating, they don't know their importance, and their identity is basically forgotten. Yeah. So we're here to bring an understanding and a greater place a great importance on self-awareness, so that those who are listening, you can see that your own self-worth is more important than the things that you put yourself through. Okay, your own self-worth is more important than inebriating and tapping out. It's more important than escaping and giving yourself permission to, not address the issues that are before you. Well, because when you come down off of that high or whatever, your issues are still going to be there. So, what better way to go ahead and address those situations than to just do it head on? Okay. So, let's get into some practices that is going to help to keep your well being intact while you do address those situations. All right. All right. So, what we've got to do is we got to begin to take a stand. Okay. Begin to take a stand and just talk to yourself first, and declare to yourself, I will not be denied of what rightfully belongs to me. And you know what? You got to mean it. Don't take no for an answer. All right. So, with tenacity, I want you to get this together. You got to start somewhere. You may as well start now. All right. Declare, I will not be denied of what rightfully belongs to me. I am a champion. I win. All right. Now, next, I want to move into collaboration. All right. What collaboration means and how that applies in this situation of this course. So, collaboration defined is an act of working with someone to produce or create something. Collaborating means that everyone involved does their part. For example, UDI, which is Unearth the True You, UDI staff does their part by receiving you, answering your questions, offering support, being transparent, and being present physically and mentally. Okay. You, as the participant, do your part by working the program, by scheduling your personal sessions, you know, by being present in class, journaling, and actually working the program so that you can get the most out of it. All right. So that's collaboration. And that's what you've got to decide to do. If you're going to be a part of the program, you would need to work it and so that you can get the best out of it. All right. We've seen many successes with this program where you begin to establish new practices in your life that basically keep your well-being intact. It helps you stay on in that good place. And so it's awesome that we're now offering this content on these videos so that you can come back. If you miss a week, we're going to still have it posted, right? But you can come back and you can go over this material, so that you are able to stay in that good place. And once you begin to set up the strategies for yourself and take these practices and begin to add them into your daily plans, put them on your schedule, begin to rehearse things on your own with regard to your positive mindset. Once you start doing that on your own, that that is how you begin to learn how to stand. And so that's what we're here for, is to help you learn how to stand. All right? Last but not least, meditation. No, commitment. Commitment defined is the state or quality of being dedicated to something, okay? A cause or an activity. All right. So UDI staff commits to do what's necessary to develop and master all aspects, help you master all aspects of this program. I'll say that again. So UDI staff commits to do what's necessary to help you to master all aspects of this program and to see you to the end of it. We commit to see you fulfill your dreams, okay, and to be the best you, and see you to become the best you via this program. Next, you as the participant must be committed to the process of working the program to completion and then seeing the program through to mastery of all its principles and practices. The bottom line, you must be an active participant of your personal reformation. The staff of UDI cannot be more committed at developing you than you are. Otherwise, you will not see the results that you truly desire to see. All right. So that means it's important that you take ownership of this opportunity that is being given to you through this program to begin to function at a new level, to take that higher discipline that's going to be required of you to establish new principles that are positive. It's going to require a heightened level of discipline. So you want to just take this time and to set it in your mind and in your heart. I am going to work this program. Okay. So now we go to activity, one of our activities for this week. Before we move on to that, I want to have you excuse me, I want to have you to um, say this affirmation and set it as a meditation in your journal. Okay. All right. So the affirmation is, I will do my part in the process and be committed, focused, and determined. That's in the process of working this program. Again, I will do my part in the process and be committed, focused, and determined. Okay. That's the meditation that you want to write down in your journal, and, get started on it so that you can wake up every day, create a routine for yourself, set alarms on your mobile device, place in, the little names for the different alarms. This is my meditation time. This is my writing time. Okay. All right. So, all right. So here is our first activity. Okay, this is a forgiveness activity. We're going to kind of activate you in that place of forgiveness. And so I want you to kind of do everything that you're asked to do here, because this is a starting point for you. Okay. All right. So number one, I want you to grab your journal and I want you to chronicle how you're feeling thus far. We've pretty much come to the end of the this first week. And so I want you to write down, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about what we've discussed tonight? How do you feel about, what the program is for you currently? I know this is just week 1, but just write down your feelings. So that's part 1 of this activity. Okay. Yeah, so let's give you just a few seconds to write down a couple of feelings in your journal. And that's, what it does is it gives you a good place when you go to reflect on tonight, because we want to establish the habit of reflecting every day. When you get up in the morning, take a few moments, take some deep breaths. You can thank the creator, for another day. Thank you. I call him Father. Thank you, Father, for another day. Yeah. And then, okay, so now let's move on to our next part of the of this activation. So what I want you to do now is create a list. Okay, create a list of any and all individuals that you were upset with, or you may be upset with now. Any person who has wronged you, if it's not a person, but it's a situation, go ahead and I want you to write down the situation. Okay, go ahead and just take a few moments, write it out. How did the situation end? If there hasn't been an ending, we need to write that down as well. And yeah, we want to get to the bottom of it. Okay, so after you've made that list of individuals, after you've made that list of situations, I want you to take that list and you're just going to turn the page and I want you to keep going. But at the top of that page, I want you to write forgiveness activation because we are going to come back to that. Okay. All right. Now we will focus on your affirmations, specifically the ones that remind you of the treasure that you are. As you can discern the greatness that's within, we encourage you. We encourage you to begin personal affirmations of self. This must be a continual validation in your own hearing out loud as you bring to life the ideas you are inspired to create. All right. Now, here's your second journal out for today. Take a few moments and journal some positive things about yourself that affirm you and inspire you. Take about 2 minutes and write in your journal some positive affirmations. I'll give you a couple of examples. I am inspired by the wind that brushed my face in a cool breeze. Now, these are just things that inspire you. No matter how weird they seem, no matter how, insignificant they seem, they're significant because it's yours. Okay. All right. Here's another example. Self, you are strong. You overcome any opposition that you face. So that was like a positive affirmation. Okay. So go ahead and write down your affirmation, write down take a few moments to write down a positive affirmation, just some things that inspire you. All right. Lastly, we will learn a fun way to archive our creative inclinations instead of discarding them or acting on them prematurely. We are at the end of week 1. So, at the end of week 1, it's time to take these moments and think about what today was about, right? Think about the eternal perspective of identity, the fact that you were significant and you had significance before even the worlds were framed. Think about, what that means, that there is proof in sacred text that that's true. Yeah. Also think about the collaboration and the commitment, okay? Collaborating with us means that you do your share, we do our share, and that everybody wins, okay? We win because you get to take part in some great content and that, it becomes a part of you. And we want to see that. So that's how we win. Our job here is fulfilled. You win because you get new practices that keep your well-being intact. Okay. Commitment. When you are firm and you say, hey, I'm not going to, fall back into old habits, but I commit to do this work. I commit to do what's necessary to be my best self, the best version of myself. You know what? The commitment, and we make that commitment to be there for you so that you can reach that goal. All right. And so, with that, we're going to go ahead and end this week on a meditation. All right. The meditation is this: develop your discipline to practice being you daily. And that we'll do it as a meditation, and we'll think about, I will develop my discipline to practice being me daily. All right. So I hope this week has been helpful. I hope this week is going to inspire you to begin to daily activate these practices for yourself, and so that you can live out your purpose and be the best version of yourself. I want to thank you for joining us for Unearth the True You. Have a great week.